All right, I showed you how to do the front half. Let's talk about the back half. To irrigation, we have this 1/2 inch tubing. You want to get some ends or terminators. Basically make a V. The 1/2 tubing goes through one side and out the other, and that'll stop it from coming out the other end. Let's take a look. And you pretty much just stick it through like a so. And then make sure that you're going at the tip, the end of it, not on the inside. If you put it too close down, like towards the bottom, like this, it's gonna leak. This holds it closer together when we put it over on this side, right here. All right, make sure you get strong enough 1/4 inch tubing. This stuff can be a nightmare when you have everything popping off because the tubing sucks. And also we're gonna talk about emitters. Emitters come in a lot of different sizes. This is where the water drips out of. That goes on the very end of that 1/4 inch tubing. They generally go by a gallon size and multiple size gallons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can make it do as whatever you want to. I get a gauge on how much water each one of my containers need, and I effectively make sure that the water goes to the bottom and doesn't really overflow or get wasted. And here's another one. Now you can have a bunch of drippers like this. This is like a 2 gallon per hour one, and you can space them out again based on your soil. And there's ones like this. These ones have like they twist at the end, so you can kind of turn these into a deeper watering if you wanted to. It opens up, it allows more water to come out. All right, tighten it down, and water, it's like a 1 gallon per hour, I want to say. So I think it's like 1 to 5, 1 to 8 per gallon. And then you have the guys like this. These come with spikes, and you can turn it off by twisting the top or make the water go further and more water come out. Like this. They turn and this one clicks, the other one doesn't. The clicking one though, it's almost like having 5 notches versus this black one. I can turn it to wherever I want to turn it to. If you overturn it though, the tops will pop off and you'll come out and then you'll have a little bit of a mess. So make sure you're aware of that. And then you're gonna want a bunch of these. These are for the 1/4 inch. You can basically get things that turn. You can make it so you have multiple tubes coming out the 1/4 inch tubing, but keep in mind that does make a bottleneck. So if you're doing 2, it's cutting in half the amount of water that's going out to those drippers. You have a lot of different options. They also have bits where you can, let's say you move a tube completely, you want to terminate it. You could put, there's some that stop the water from coming out that end. There's some that you need the tubing to be longer. It extends it by having just 2 ends. A lot of options. All right, so this is the 1/2 inch tubing. Generally, you want to have it running behind everything. And for me anyway, I like to try to have things as hidden as I possibly can. And then I just want to get my little tool like you saw in the other video. Put the pointy bit in, the barbed. Just like my other video, you want to get your little tool if you have one. These are just make things super simple. And you just put your little barbed into that little hole. And now all I have to do is poke this into the tubing with this in there. And you want to kind of pinch the tubing. You don't want to make a hole on the other side, but you can hear like a pop. You just push it through, and then you just make sure it's in there. And then you're going to connect the 1/4 inch tubing to the opposite end. Or you could even put tubing directly on here because they're sharp, based on what your preferences are. Some people like to use PVC. I like this stuff because it bends. I've been doing it for a couple years and I haven't had any issues, so it's all based on you, and you just do it like this. Now you just pretty much, you're gonna put your emitter on the other side. You want to measure it out, pull it to length. I always like to give myself a little more play. Depending on if you did this ahead of time, you could run this through the soil, but if there's an issue that causes issues. And make sure you're cutting it straight. You probably want to leave your tubing out in the sun for a little while, or you can use heat to heat it up. You don't want to apply too much heat because it becomes too pliable and eventually your tubes could pop off. But generally with these bobbers or these nozzled ones, you generally do need to apply something because look, it can be hard for it to go in. If you're doing a lot of these, your arms and your hands are gonna get tired, or you know, breaking something. So it's generally easier to apply at least a little bit of heat. Literally on a warmer day, 80, 90 degrees in the heat for like an hour or two is more than enough. And like I said, it's better to have some more slack than what you need, just in case you want to move things around. But this is going to shoot out in what, 5 or 6 directions. This should reach each one of the ends and water in between all of that. So this should be good enough to get this entire area. It's kind of like a little sprinkler. I don't plan to have anything super deep into this as far as the roots grow. And just rinse and repeat. So it's, of course, it's stubborn, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get my lighter and I'm just gonna burn the end of it just for a second or two, just to make it easier to apply. And then we should just be able to slide right in. Look how easy that was. And place for best coverage. Rinse and repeat, guys. You guys are smart people. I know that you're getting this. It's pretty straightforward. Burn a little bit, get it nice and heated slightly. It doesn't take much, and then you should be able to just slide it right in there. Slide it right in there. Yeah, like that. Wasn't too bad. Again, don't overdo it. Apply less heat and try it. If you feel like you need to add a little bit more heat, do that. Because once it's melted, it's melted. And this is that other raised bed I did. I think I want this to be, this is full sun. I want this to be like a flower area. Like I said before, I want to do more flowers, more pollination. I don't want it to be just fruit and veggies. I want it to be just fruit and veggies, but flowers are pretty, it adds to the landscape, adds how it looks. It adds for bringing in different types of bugs in here to potentially eat the bad bugs, or maybe crops like sunflowers sometimes where it'll be sacrificial. All the bugs will go to that instead of going to the stuff I want to eat. The point is, it's beneficial to also do flowers as well. Do not forget about your flowers. All right, so what I have is this drip tubing. If I'm doing flowers, they shouldn't be super deep. This stuff can be buried, and it can go around in circles, just kind of like this. I can make it go across. With this being a circle, I want to do like a spiral, maybe. Like if you take a look here, you can see all the holes, and this is pretty much the same setup. You make it go in a spiral, and then you add the termination to the very end. You don't want all the water to that creates pressure. You don't want all the water to just leak out the end. But I just want to turn it on and test it, making sure that I'm getting enough water in all the areas. This doesn't look clogged, and I just want to see kind of like how the output looks. I think it looks good to me, but again, with me rushing, I didn't quite think things through. It would have probably made more sense if I would have put this down before, since I do want this to be buried. If I have it on top, what's going to happen is going to water, it's going to evaporate. I could put the mulch directly on top of it, but this should be rated to be able to be under the soil. Get water directly to those roots. I don't know, I guess I could put it, just cover it with mulch. Meh, we're going with it under the soil. And just like that, we are buried. I'm gonna turn this on, make sure that that I'm seeing some water pooling. I really don't have it that deep under the soil, just enough. I want to make sure that the seedlings, I'm putting seeds over here, I want to make sure that they're getting the water directly. I think I might put one tree over here. Undecided. You know what? I want something tall. I want something to privacy. I think we're gonna start with these Mexican sunflowers. The Mexican sunflowers. It looks like they need light, but these things get super tall. Butterflies apparently love them, as you can see from the picture. And it's not bamboo. Like I want bamboo across to cover a lot of this area. We'll see how this does, but I've heard really good things about this stuff. There's requirements. It looks like I can't bury these under the ground, under the soil. So I think I'm just gonna put on top and see how that goes. Check out those seeds. Cool, huh? Just gonna sprinkle them in and pat them down. As usual, do all the things, the liking, the sharing, subscribing, leave a comment, any concerns, questions, or maybe you have some other ideas, or maybe there's some ways you do things that I haven't thought about. I like these things to be discussions and us help each other out. We are always learning, right? Anyway, let's grow.